Welcome to Sergeant Sue on the mic, Airman's Journey in the Air National Guard. I'm your host, Sergeant Sue, and this is the podcast where we sit down with real airmen and have real conversation. So,
come see us, get inspired, aim high, fly, fight, win, get to know the Air National Guard. Write your story, earn that key. Come see us, get inspired.
let's get started. This is Sergeant Sue, your host, and I want to thank you for pressing play and hanging out with me today. It's just going to be me, and this is our pilot episode, our introduction episode. This is where I'm going to be telling you that this podcast is about and what to look forward to. Later on in the other episodes, I'm going to have somebody there with me interviewing and get to knowing that person. But today, we're just going to gather some information so you know what to look forward to. On this podcast, we're going to talk about real stories from airmen and real experiences. You know, not the textbook version, not the recruiting poster version, but the real journey of the airmen who serve in the Air National Guard, specifically in North Carolina. If there's a chance and I go somewhere else and I have my equipment with me, I would love to do other interviews with other airmen from different bases. And there is an Air Guard base in every state and territory. But we're going to focus here on North Carolina. The truth is, the Air Guard is full of incredible people with stories that most people never get to hear. And that is exactly why this podcast will start and will exist. When the people hear about the Air Guard, they're going to think about a few things, right? They might think, oh, the jets and the F 16s, maybe the C 17s or C 130s, if they know what those are, And they also think that everybody in the Air Force are pilots. We don't all get to fly planes. I mean, I'm flying a plane, but I'm learning how to fly a plane. But that doesn't mean that everybody does. And, we're trying to get rid of some of these misconceptions. And sometimes they think about what deployment is and what that's going to look like and what does basic training going to look like. So, yeah, I want to be able to explain a little bit more and show people or show our listeners that there's somebody behind the uniform. And I want them to listen in and check them out, right? We are going to talk about the decisions people make before they join, the conversations with recruiters, how they get in contact with them, how the process was, to see within that process if they had any doubts, or maybe they were just like super excited, ready, and gung ho. Maybe they had a little fear, or maybe the parents. I know my parents, especially my mom. She was a little scared of me joining. She's like, "Oh my God, mijo, you're gonna go to war and you're gonna die." So all these misconceptions that we kind of have is going to clear the air a little bit, and we're gonna have the challenges and the growth. Obviously, I had to tell my mom. I was like, no, don't worry. Yes, there's a possibility that I go deploy somewhere, but I'm going to be learning a skill, and this is something that I want to give back to my country. And obviously, I'm going to get some benefits out of it too, right? Like education, VA home loan, and things like that, which later on in the other episodes, we're going to talk a little bit more, right? There's those moments when somebody does decide to start a new chapter in life, and that chapter, there is always like a little spark, right? A little epiphany, as somebody would say, that they're like, you know what? I think the military is going to be good for me. I think it's finally, I'm going to take a leap of faith. Sometimes there's people that at 16, 17, 18, they're like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm gung ho. And then, that they back out and then they enlist later on in the future. Like for me, I was the same way, honestly. I wanted to join at 18 years old, right out of high school. I was like, I'm going to the Marines. I'm going to be a badass. I'm going to go over there and be tough and all this stuff. but how life works is different for every person, and everybody has their own journey, right? So for me, it didn't happen that way, which I'm glad that I was able to join later on in my life, and things happen for a reason. I truly believe that. Now, there are thousands of airmen out there with stories that can inspire somebody, motivate them, or even change somebody's life. For me personally, the Air National Guard changed my life dramatically, exponentially. Insert adjective because I benefit so much out of it, and I continue benefiting from it because I'm taking flight lessons, and through the NC TAP, I'm it's being paid for from the North Carolina Air Guard, which is amazing because flight if you're taking flight lessons, it's pretty expensive. So, anyways, now, throughout this podcast, like I said, you'll be hearing pieces of my story throughout every episode. And honestly, the opportunities has changed my life, and you're going to hear more of it throughout each episode when something that relates to that person that I'm talking to and having a conversation and it comes up. You don't want to hear everything that I've gone through, but later on in each episode, you're going to have little tidbits of me. And that's one of the reasons why I became a recruiter in the first place. I saw the benefits, the opportunities, the doors that open for me, and the door that closes, but then a window opens, right? So always looking for that opportunity to take advantage of. And those things encompassed and through my military career, I want to give that to people. I want people to have that perspective of being able to go after the opportunities that is laid in front of them, through my experience and obviously the experiences of other airmen. Now, whether it's learning a new skill or avoiding years of student loan debt, building a career, having opportunities to travel the world or travel and see the world, my journey started in the Air Reserve, and then it went to the Air Guard, and now I am still in the Air Guard as an AGR, Active Guard Reserve, as a previously recruiter, and now the Marketing and Advertisement NCO, and also your podcast host. Tech school, deployments, TDYs, different career fields, how to change career fields within your military career, the ability to change your paths. We're going to talk about the funny moments. I think that's going to be my most favorite part of this podcast. We're going to be, having a normal conversation and bringing up stories that are so funny and memorable that I want the listeners or you guys to really like see that we're human people too, and we have funny stories throughout our military careers. I'm really looking forward to that. The laughs, unforgettable moments, crazy stories. I know they got a lot of crazy stories about me. If you know me very well, I'm like very, I guess, free spirited, kind of like an adventure time type of person. Like I just go with the flow and fun things just happen. But anyways, we'll also talk about the stressful moments, the leadership lessons we're learning throughout our career and the life lessons that come along with it. I know I'm learning to be more of a leader, and lead by example is extremely important. So, taking steps to get out of comfort zones and being the leader that you need to be, and these conversations will be natural. I got a little, I don't know if it's ADD, but focus issues. No, I'm just kidding. But but it's our conversations are going to be natural, and sometimes we're going to go left when we're supposed to go right, and then we're going to go up and down. But that's the whole point of the conversation, right? The whole point is to just get to know each other and just talk, right? And we're going to talk about life outside of the uniform. So this is a part-time organization, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, a grand total of 38 days out of every year as your minimum obligation in the Air National Guard. So we're going to see how most airmen, they balance both worlds, right? The civilian world and their military world. See what they're doing, because most civilians, what do they have? They have careers, they have families, they have passions, hobbies. So we're going to see how we mix both of them together and balance it all, because balance is very, very important. And hopefully this will inspire you. And it's sometimes crazy how, like, some of these stories and these people make you realize how incredible they are, and they're serving quietly behind the scenes. Some of these folks that you maybe ran into or you work with, you might not even know they serve in the Air National Guard, and that would be a disservice to them and to the NC Air Guard, because you should know they're doing something greater than themselves, and we should support each other out here. Now, one thing that did stood out to me throughout my career is that everybody has a story and they're all different. Different backgrounds, different jobs, different reasons, different personalities, and different paths in life. And you could almost on every one of them pinpoint the moment that changed their path in life, their perspective. And these stories are powerful. Something might be as easy as, look, I've been working in the civilian world for 20 years and I'm 35 now. And, I want to have job satisfaction. I want to do something greater than myself. Boom. And then they join, right? The oldest person that I've enlisted was 39 years old. So it's never too late. 17 to 42, that's your age range. So get ready. If you're under 42, we're talking to you too. Uh, so let's get ready for our very first episode kind of conversation with technical surgeon Jason Jackson. He's an amazing person, phenomenal father, and one of the best recruiters we have in the NC Air National Guard. So I'm looking forward for you to listen to it. It's going to be so funny. I've worked with him for the last 5, 6 years, and it's been a wild ride, funny, and 8, 10 hour days with another person. You're just like family. So he's like a brother to me. He's such an amazing person, and I hope you can hear that and see that in our conversation that we have on the next episode. Again, thank you. So whether you're an airman, a civilian, or just curious about what life is in the Air National Guard, you're in the right place. That's a wrap. Another episode of Sergeant Sue on the mic, Airman's Journey in the Air National Guard. I'm your host, Sergeant Sue, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Is your